The New York Rangers, Jesse's favorite team, called them the Stanley Cup favorite at the start of last year, and the Rangers went from young and fast to old and slow pretty quickly. Dizzyingly.
Dude, they went from dominant to bums in a game.
Listen, it doesn't mean they're bad. It means that they've changed a lot. I want to start with Jesse on this because that was his bold take last year. Mm-hmm. Are you as high on this team going into this year as you were last year?
I am. It's a tougher division now because we know how good the New Jersey Devils are. It's not what we expected last season going into it. But the biggest change for them is Peter Laviolette. Like, now that Laviolette is in there, it's a whole new vibe in New York. Gallant's gone, and Gallant overstayed his welcome by a million years. And
he was there 2 years.
Exactly.
He's been in every coaching job 2 years. I don't know what's up with that guy, but it's crazy.
Peter Laviolette's going to come in, and I love what I'm seeing out of training camp from the New York Rangers, because the big thing out of training camp for them is, it seems like the big thing across a bunch of different teams is moving guys to different positions in the forward group. Laff is going to play right wing, and having Lafreniere on the first line right wing might be the thing that gets him going. If they,
Jesse,
this season get a first overall pick to play like a first overall pick, that is a boost that no other team is getting.
Adam, I will say, I love...
What arm of propaganda are you wearing?
Excuse me?
No.
Does Laugh on the wing not excite you? That's something he didn't want to do. He didn't want to play right wing all last year because Gallant couldn't get him to do it. He likes the left wing. And now he's a right winger. He can fit on that first line. I'm very hopeful.
So that was a good explanation.
Sure.
But it started like someone trying to justify their difficult friend to the rest of their friends.
Yes. Yes.
You know, like, no,
really,
like he'll warm up and no, I'm not buying it.
I think there's buyer's remorse on Lafreniere, and it's not because he's a bad guy, but frankly, the fact that a player is saying, I won't move from the left wing to the right wing because I like it, and you've had zero NHL success, and he hasn't. I think that's...
Yeah, and now he's moving.
I think that's ballsy, man.
I think it's a microcosm of a new vibe of the Rangers. It's something Gallant couldn't get them to do. It's one thing, and Laviolette comes in. It's the new regime. Hey, we're going to try this thing out. Laugh is open to it. I think you're going to have a new vibes of the Rangers where it's not we're all kind of unhappy here and collapsing on ourselves and losing to the Devils. We're going to have a new, more fun New York Rangers.
Now, listen, I don't disagree that that's great, but Pierre-Luc Dubois started pulling that shit after he scored 60 points.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Like,
and listen, I
that was a few years ago now.
Pick, but that's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And I think Lafreniere and Capo Caco have a ton to prove. It doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean they don't have the skill. I'm just not sure that either of those guys are going to convert to be what the Rangers hope they would be.
This is the prove it year.
I do think it's very interesting that Peter Laviolette has this reputation of just completely sewering young guys. And the very first thing he does when he gets to New York is promote a struggling young player to the first line.
Yeah. That's also interesting. Man, Jesse, you're down with the Laviolette pick. Again, that's another one where I'm like, why? Really? When he was hired, I was like, him?
You don't like Peter?
You know what, man?
He's won a lot.
I would have went with Andrew
through
Burnett, but that's just me.
Yes.
We went through I think I agree with you, but Rangers fans hated that signing when it happened, and then we went through his record and we were like, wait, this is really good.
He's won a lot, but
he's had a lot of success.
But is one of those guys who, there's players, and it's not because of anything bad, but just because I think he wears out his welcome. You got a time frame for Laviolette. And then afterwards, they kind of go, yeah, I'm glad he's going.
That makes him the majority of professional hockey coaches.
And there you go. Now, let's talk about the defense, guys. It's looking like Lindgren, Fox, Keandre Miller, Jacob Trouba, Eric Gustafson, former Leaf, and Braden Schneider, Zach Jones, and Connor Mackey could step in. What do you guys think? The top four especially looks really, really good.
I mean, when Eric Gustafson scores more points than John Klingberg, it's going to be really painful. It's just going to hurt so much. But not to make it about the Leafs. The Rangers have a exciting decor that might do some stupid stuff every now and then, but they have the biggest, best pure hitter in the league right now in Jacob Trouba, and he's got this reputation, and you have to keep your head up when you're crossing that blue line. And it's going to screw up teams' entries. It does play a factor. Like it plays an actual strategic role. You have top 3 offensive defensemen with Adam Fox. I mean, Cale Makar exists. So that's kind of difficult. And I love Keandre Miller's game. I think there's so much potential there. And I would look for him to take a big step.
On that point, guys, I want to focus on him. Arthur Staples says Keandre Miller will be, I mean, he broke out last year, but he thinks that he will be up there as one of those guys who's an outside Norris guy, and he thinks under Laviolette's system. Well, eventually,
he's not even the best defender on the Rangers.
100%. But you got to look at it like, is he potentially a top 10 defenseman in the league?
I mean, maybe one day. I don't think yet. And I like him a lot.
He said Laviolette's system encourages defensemen to get up the ice, and his incredible skating should get him more notice. So
really good puck rusher.
So Jesse, what do you like about Keandre Miller the most?
Oh, I think Keandre Miller is he's just a standout of the defense, because I think when you look at it, there's something more to be desired from Zach Jones, Braden Schneider, Ben Harper, and Mac Hollowell. Like, I think when you look outside of Keandre Miller and Adam Fox and Trouba, and I guess you throw in Ryan Lindgren, you need more.
Don't disrespect Little Mac. How dare you?
Just because he's ex-Leaf. So I wouldn't rule out Drury making a trade on the back end to go get Keandre Miller some support, because there's a young guy who, if he can get him a solid partner to play with for the rest of the season, he can have a really great season. I see a trade happening for defense for the Rangers.
We know that that Igor Shesterkin can be a Vezina candidate basically every year. He's got a couple years left at $5.6 million. Last year was undoubtedly not the year that he would have wanted to have. And I think a lot was put on him. I don't want to talk about Igor Shesterkin until we talk about his backup, Jonathan Quick.
I was going to say he's going to have to be real good.
Apparently, according to some Rangers reporters, Jonathan Quick has been borderline unplayable in the preseason. Not great. Not great.
Boy.
So now, listen, that could be people being a little bit obnoxious on Twitter or whatever. But is there any juice left to squeeze with Jonathan Quick, guys?
It's why they have Louis Domingue.
I mean,
the King Domingue, baby.
Yeah, Louis Domingue.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's a client of somebody.
Noted Alan Wall's client, Louis Domingue.
He's sitting there and waiting.
Yes, he is. But if Quick can't do it, and they call up Domingue, and Domingue can't do it, they're going to have to go out and get help. Going into the season and just being like, Jonathan Quick, we're going to get Vegas's 4th, 5th goalie. I mean, I do think there's some juice there. We saw it with Vegas. He did have some good games, but we're getting to that point. You ever squeeze a lemon into a drink? Your arm is shaking. We're getting real close to having a dry lemon.
Yeah, he was one of the worst goalies in the league when he was in LA last season.
Yeah.
Can Igor Shesterkin be a Vezina candidate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, looking at him in his career so far, I would bank on him being what he was leading up to last year. Not last year. He also recovered too.
Now, the Rangers, who were very, very young at one point, they're four top players on making money, I guess, on the forward group. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, and Trocheck, 31, 30, 32, and 30. Philip Hedl is 24, and he's the next highest paid. What does that say about the Rangers and winning now?
I mean, they want to win now, and that's why they need their young guys to step up and join them, right? And that's the long and short of it, because they're not going to get traded.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
I'm worried that the rest of the league is caught up with the New York Rangers, because where they were even going into last year and the year before, and that little 3-year window, they were such this everybody's kind of in their late to mid 20s. They have such dynamic offense, and they have one of the best goaltenders. And now the rest of the league is kind of caught up to New York, and I'm afraid that they've surpassed them as well.
They blew it last year. They really, really blew it.
Blake Wheeler, $800,000. What's he going to bring to this lineup?
A big old bunch of goals. Power play specialist. Don't ask him to back check. He's not going to do it. But he's going to help him score some goals. And really underrated prick.
Oh, yeah, he's tough.
He can play like a prick. Oh, yeah.
Jess, do you like it?
Yeah, I think you bring him in there for some leadership purposes to get those goals. I don't know how effective a 37-year-old is going to be in the lineup, but I think they have him playing as high as the third line.
So that brings me to this then, gentlemen. Where do you have the New York Rangers finishing?
Again, it's the Metropolitan Division. There's 2 teams at the top, 2 teams at the bottom, and the rest is a clump. I spun the wheel and have the Rangers third.
Jesse.
I have the Rangers third as well, and some of the line.
You can't. You had the Islanders third.
Oh, sorry. I have the
Because you changed your mind to be a dick.
This is why.
What do you mean?
How did you put the Islanders third?
What, you're going to make them both third?
No, I have the Islanders fourth. What are you talking about?
You suck.
The Rangers are third.
Yeah, I think they're third as well. 107 points. By the way, I didn't ask you guys. What are the betting odds on the Rangers finish? What do you think? Just throw numbers at me.
No, what did they have last year?
107.
Okay.
102.5.
Jesse.
Oh, that's a good one. 103.5.
101.5.
No! I will get one of these.
Okay.